Okay, and welcome back. Kill the Cat Radio, Sharp Teeth, episode 23. Hello, 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 hello. Fine summer day today here in Brooklyn, and I welcome all of you here to my office. As you can see, not much has changed. Good old Epiphone guitar right over here, rocking and rolling, ready to rock a stage anytime soon. We've got special book over here. Not sure if you could see it. I'll even make a little room for you. That is Ernest Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls. In my opinion, probably one of the greatest books he had ever wrote in his whole life. I think he wrote it about in his 40s, early 40s. And it's a very simple story about a guy who wants to bomb a bridge. He's going to go work as a soldier for hire in Spain. He's got a shack up in the mountains with this whole gypsy crew. He's an American bombardier there to blow a bridge that is vital for the success of the rebels in the mountains. Fantastic story, great meditation on death, on history, on mental illness, and probably one of the greatest sex scenes ever written. Yes, you're gonna have to read it to figure it out. Also, good luck, Black Cat on the wall. Let's go ahead and get this stuff started. We've got our clipboard here for Kill the Cat Radio Sharp Teeth, episode 23. I want to say hello to all of you out there and to our 59 subscribers. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe below. Hit the like button. Let us know you enjoy what we're doing here. If you have any comments about what we talk about on this program, please write down in the comment section exactly how you feel about these topics. And I'm sure today is going to be very interesting for a lot of you. One of the number one topics that are brought up in the talkback section, questions you guys have for me or comments about me, is what do I really believe? What are we talking about here? We talking about religion? We talking about politics? We talking about my ideas about psychology, my ideas about art? What are we really talking about here when people want to know what I believe? Ooh, believe. Sounds almost kind of spiritual. It's like, oh, come down from the heavens. No, I know what they're talking about. I know what they want me to talk about. I know exactly kind of the vibe they're looking for. They want to know politically where I stand on things. And so we're going to break things down into 3 different points. All right. The first point I'd like to discuss. So when people talk about politics, usually there's pretty much not a lot of thought that goes into it. Usually you pick one political party. Either you're on the left and you're a Democrat, or you're on the right and you're a Republican. Okay. To me, that's a little boring. That doesn't really sum up a lot of the contradictions in human behavior, in human thought. And for most of my life, I think I towed the party line. I was kind of like, I'm an artist. Oh, yeah, I don't care what happens. I'm an atheist and, chaos reigns. I'm an anarchist. Okay, that's great when you're a kid. But then when you finally get, older, you become an adult, you actually have to look in the mirror and you have to ask yourself, what do I believe? Now, it's a tough question to ask. I mean, I ask all of you guys out there, what do you really believe? If you really sat down and I had to quiz you on topics, where would you stand on some of these topics? And if you really think about it, a lot of times, and I hate to admit it, even in myself, but a lot of times we kind of mirror a lot of the things that are going on around us. So it's kind of groupthink. And I've suffered from that before too. If you're like a cool guy working the bars and you're in Brooklyn, and you're working like, a gay and straight bar or whatever, you're going to have certain ideas and you're going to have to agree with certain things and what have you. Or if you're in certain artist circles, obviously everything's going to skew very much to the left. And, and a lot of times we can get caught up in what everyone else around us thinks. Takes a lot of bravery to finally go, seriously though, fuck school, fuck your friends, fuck everyone around you, fuck your social structures. What do you believe? What do you really believe in your mind, heart, and soul? What do you believe? Okay. So I had to sit myself down, take a very, very stern amount of time. I even wrote it down in a little journal. I was like, okay, let's take each topic one by one to find out what I really believe about the world at large. What's going on here? Politically, socially, anthropologically, historically, culturally, where do I stand in all of this? Well, the answers were pretty surprising because I'm kind of all over the place. I'm not exactly sure what I could call myself. I know what I can't call myself, and that's a Republican or a Democrat. No, I don't fit in any of these little duopoly categories. I'm sorry, but I don't. Now, eventually, It does come down to who you're eventually going to vote for, whether it be in the primary election or the presidential election, or even on the smaller elections, the more homegrown kind of down home elections, which brings us over to point two. So we're going to go point by point into each of these different categories. And maybe you can ask yourself, hey, where do you fit into all of this? So these are kind of, let's see here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about nine major things that kind of split the parties into two. All right. Now, a lot of people in media think it's better if the person doesn't know what the actual belief system is of the person talking. I think that really worked back in sort of when there was 3 news channels. You had Walter Cronkite and all these great newscasters, Mike Wallace, and then you had Tom Brokaw. You didn't really know what these guys and these ladies were thinking. Barbara Walters, Diane Sawyer. You didn't know what these men and women were actually thinking. They were there to report the news. But since the internet is so interactive as we are interacting now, and it's so personal, I mean, it is YouTube. It's not their tube. It's YouTube, right? So yeah, we can get a little personal on this. And finally, we can put to rest all the different letters and all the different comments I get about what I actually believe politically. So shall we get started? Let's do it. First one, Social Security. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah. I think if you pay into a system for a long period of time and they take out a little bit of money, so the day will finally come when you can't work anymore after retirement age or perhaps after a sickness, you can apply for those back Social Security funds that are owed to you from all the years that you worked and put into the system. Now there's new people putting more things into the system, the younger people, and they're going to pay it forward, and it's a pay it forward process. So when you're finally old, yes, it's not a lot of money, whatever. It depends on how you want to be an old person. I personally don't care. I need a room and some internet and some good food and maybe a couple plane tickets a year. And that's all I really need to be a happy person. So Social Security, all about it. Okay, now we're going to get into the real spicy ones here. All right, so gun control. I am an American, folks. So for those who are not born and raised in the United States, I guess you will never understand our relationship with guns. All right, what's the best way of saying this? We are a nation of outlaws, okay? The people who first came here came from somewhere else. And if you came here in the last 400 years, unless you were a slave and you came in chains, you came here by your own volition, which means 2 things. 1, you didn't like your own country you came from. And 2, they didn't like you where you're from. So you came here to America. Welcome. And dealing with all these different types of people from all these different types of the world, we had something called guns. Now, there's always pistols and muskets and things like this and what have you. They always say God didn't make us all equal, but Smith and Wesson did. I always love that. That's just hilarious. I think that's the line. God didn't make us equal, but Smith and Wesson did. Oh, I love that. It's so funny. Because really, what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to really attack somebody if you know they're packing, right? I heard in Texas, you want to be a little bit nicer to people on the road because they're probably packing some heat. You don't want that heat. That's a bad heat. That's not cool health spa heat, and the bubbles and the jacuzzi and all that, or a steam room or something like that, or a sauna. No, this is the heat where it's your ass. Background checks. 100%. Mental illness checks, 100%. It's a little dicey because let's say you did have a bad period in your life and you got depression on your record. Does that mean you can't have a firearm when you're older? I also think there should be classes, regulated classes. So yes, you could buy your weapon, but before you get the bullets for it, you got to take a class, at least a basic safety training manual class for every purchaser of a gun. That could be a really interesting, cool revenue stream for a lot of people. Start opening up new businesses where they teach gun safety to people. Instead of having people are oh, let's just ban all the guns. Why don't we, every time you want to buy a package of bullets, right? You can buy the gun, fine. That's okay. It's pretty much, impotent at that point. But to get armed, to really get armed, take a class, 3-hour class, 1 3-hour class, gun safety. You got to get an A in the class. There's either A or F, okay? Either you pass or fail. All right. Take the course, figure it out. Gun safety, totally cool. All right. That's where I stand on that. Here's another one. Immigration. Oh, everybody's freaking out. A country must have borders. You do not have a country if you do not have borders. Who can come into your country? Well, hopefully people who like your country and want to respect the rules and laws and customs of that country. Personally, I am working on my French citizenship. Now, do you think the French just let anybody into the French culture? No. You need to take 100-question tests about the history of France, 100-question tests about vocabulary and usage of their of their language. You need to be at a B1 intermediate level at language. So you need to be able to speak French like a cool teenager, okay? Or at least like an elementary school person to be able to even get in their country. What are our tests here in the United States? Not much. Who's George Washington? President. Cool, you're in. All right, great. You got 127 bucks. All right, come on down. Thanks for playing. Get on in here. No, I think there should be serious tests. If you want to come to America and you want to live here, you want to be a citizen of the United States, you need to know about our country. You need to know about a history of our country. You need to respect the culture and the customs of this country, and you need to do it in a legal fashion. There can be I want to grant no illegal status to anyone, okay? The anchor baby idea, right? No. No. The birthright citizenship thing? No. Okay. Because the kid can't function on their own. So yeah, the kid was born here. Great. But a 1-year-old can't just live in a country by themselves. So their parents need to be legal, and therefore their children will be legal. Everything should be legal. My ex-wife had to go through this. We had to go through leaps and bounds to get her into this country. And I think that could be through work programs. It could be through educational programs. It could be through marriage and true love, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But this whole willy-nilly, no borders, let people in, give them cell phones and pack them up, give them a $200 check and sayonara. No, not cool. Don't dig it, okay? Legal, clean immigration, make the tests harder, make it difficult to get in this damn country, for Christ's sake. There's plenty enough people here who already live here who can't even get by, let alone all the new people coming in. There's nothing xenophobic about that, okay? This is not weird. Any other country has this kind of thing unless they're really fucked up, right? That you could just go live there and no one cares. Doesn't happen. All right, there you go. There's that. Healthcare, yes. I think there should be a baseline healthcare, that is paid, tax funded, right? By taxes. There should be a government allotment program. And that kind of goes into the military taxes and things like that. It kind of goes into that stuff too, where you can kind of have 75% of most of the taxes to very strong military defense programs for this country, which I totally believe in. I really do believe in strong military. So I'm really big on that. However, I think 25% of that, the military side of things, should go to a base level healthcare program where basically your teeth, your eyes, anything that basically you need to do to function every day to live and work in the society should be basically taken care of. General practicing. As it gets a little bit more expensive, different things get more expensive. Maybe we could take a look at it, start tweaking it as we go along, through your jobs, give government incentives for jobs to sign up for government programs. I'm not saying everything should be completely about the government, because there should be a free market thing, which we're going to get into in a second. But I think there should be a baseline, just opportunity of basic healthcare, just the bare basics to get you okay, so you can get up and go to work. All right. That's pretty much what we need people to be at. All right. Also, when it comes to education, there should be baseline education, right? We have school choice, which I do believe that. So if the schools suck, kids don't want to go to them because the teachers suck and everything's bad about these schools and not getting like up-to-date books or anything like that. Fine. Well, guess what? No one's going to go to that school. They're going to go to schools where they actually have good funding for the children, because the children are the future, right? Treat them well and let them lead the way. Kids of the future. If we don't invest in the children, we're idiots. I mean, I don't even want to get into the literacy rates and the mathematics achievement rates in the United States is abysmal. I mean, other countries make fun of us. All right. This is how horrible it is. So we need to have baseline education, baseline healthcare, baseline. After that, you're on your own. And that is the beauty about free markets, which I'm talking about here. Free markets should decide everything. Okay. People say, oh, I don't know about that. That means it's a capitalist system. Yes, it's called the capitalist system. Money. Do you like money? Do you use money? Do you enjoy using money? I know you do. Okay. You work, you get money to do things you want to do. People get left alone. You can do whatever you want. All right. In this country. Pretty much. That doesn't break any laws. All right. So I don't know really where that puts me. I know on like all the social judgment kind of stuff, like gay marriage, obviously, I don't care who gets married. You want to be whoever you want to be, fine. There can't be stuff like public nudity around children. There can't be, illicit activities going on around children. You should let kids have kind of an innocent upbringing, so, and when I say innocent, I just mean like non-sexualized, right? Let's let them figure it out during the puberty and teenage stages. Trust me, they're going to figure it out anyways. We all figured it out. All right. Without sex education classes, it would be embarrassing if my teacher started talking about how to give a good blowjob in class. That is insane. What are they talking about here? Why are we bringing this up with kids? Okay. If they want to do human sexuality and then want to take courses on that stuff in college, in university or community college, all good. Makes perfect sense. Okay. Because they're adults. They can decide for themselves. Over 18, you decide whatever you want to do. You're totally free. Free market capitalism, free market systems, the ability to change careers midlife or 3 times in your life or whatever you want to do. This is the American dream. This is the beauty of this country. This is the beauty of it. In France, you can't do that. I mean, usually pretty much whatever you study in school, that's what's going to happen. And trying to get a loan from the government is nearly impossible. So, and pretty much all your money, 80% of your money goes to taxes. So, I mean, before you start bitching about the American capitalistic system, I suggest you go live in a country that does not have this so you can learn for yourself exactly what's going down in the real world. And I guarantee you, when you come back here to the United States, you're going to be like, wow, I like America a lot. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So go USA. And then finally, we're coming down to the last one that really always grinds everybody's gears, and that's a death penalty. Okay. I know. 1 out of every 10 persons who is convicted to an indictment to a death penalty charge is innocent. Now, we have a lot of better science nowadays. This isn't 1949 United States, okay? This is 2023. If you kill somebody, pretty much, we can nail you in so many different ways. We can get you, all right? Kill somebody, you molest children, you doing that stuff, you die. I am pro-death penalty in every state, across the board, federal law. You murder, you get murdered. No, it is not the same. One's premeditated. The other one is the law. We are removing you from the human example. Because that person you killed or that person you molested can't come back from that. So we're going to give you the same option where you can't come back from that either. And if you say that's not a deterrence, yeah, maybe for psychopaths, it's not a deterrence. But regular people, they're thinking about, man, I don't want to die. I really want to kill this person, but I don't want to get killed in the process of killing this person. Maybe I'll just let it go this time, right? Think about it. Deterrence. I mean, that's why everybody always acts nice when the cops drive by, right? Then they go right back to breaking the law, right? You know what I mean? I see it every time. You'll see people acting up. Cop car goes by, everybody's like, oh yeah, everything's fine. Deterrence works. Psychologically speaking, it works. And if it doesn't work, they're psychopaths and they should be put down anyways, because what do they say? We don't need any more psychopaths running this country or running around in this country. No, we don't need them. Goodbye. Finite. Over. Your story has been told. You decide to molest children. You decide to kill people in cold blood. We take you out of the equation. Simple as that. So I don't know what that makes me. I don't know, but I can definitely tell you this. And this is point 3 of our little discussion here today. It really comes down, is there an objective reality or is there not an objective reality? Yes, it's a binary idea. Is there real world shit going on or is it all subjective real world shit going on? If a tree falls in the forest and there is no one there to hear it, does it make a sound at all? How you answer that question will tell me whether you believe in an objective reality or a subjective reality. If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound even though there's no one to hear it? My answer is yes. It makes a sound even though no one's there to hear it. You could try, let me give you another example. You could try really hard to imagine that tomorrow the sun will not rise. No. Or that evening the moon will not rise. No, won't happen. I don't believe it will happen. I personally believe in my heart, this is my truth, that the sun won't rise tomorrow. Really? Really? You believe that? So I'm not insulting my subjective brothers and sisters out there. I'm very happy about your intellectual and philosophical thought experiments, but unfortunately, there is a real world. There is an objective truth, which means if there's an objective truth, there's an objective right and an objective wrong. And you know it in your heart. If I go out right now, turn off this camera, go outside and punch the first person that annoys me in the face, okay? We all kind of know, even though maybe if we want to do it, it's wrong to do, okay? That's not subjective. Like, hey, in some other world, we just go around punching everybody we don't like. Hey, what do you know? Okay, well, what if I see a pretty girl? What should I do? Touch her? Yeah. Let's say I just see a pretty girl, nice dress, right? Looking very lovely, sauntering there in the summer light. I want her. I want to touch her hair. I want to know what it feels like to kiss her. Now, if I just went up to her without her permission and did that, that's wrong. That's wrong. Yeah. I can hear all the women listening is like, yeah, that's wrong. I mean, conversely, I wouldn't want some strange woman touching me. You know, I mean, unless, the circumstances were really, I'm trying to think of, I mean, I would be awkward about that. I would be awkward about that. Maybe if I was like really drunk, but I don't drink anymore. So it's just, I could see that. But no, I don't want anybody touching me that's not allowed to touch me. So we all know, all jokes aside, there's an objective universe, subjective people. I love you guys. Think you're great. I'm glad you guys are thinkers. I'm an artist too. But let's get real here. Come on. You know it. I know it. The sun's going to rise tomorrow. The moon's going to come out tonight. You can't go around punching people in the face because they piss you off. And you can't touch strangers just because they look very nice and delectable to the senses, if you will. No, you can't do that. No, no, no. So there is right. There is wrong. Sun rises, moon rises. Okay, it's going to be dark at night. It's going to be bright during the day. Okay, these are just normal things. I don't know where we lost the thread here on this, but apparently we did. So, and I think the more you kind of fit your own perspective into these things and really write down, what do I believe? Really ask yourself in the mirror, despite any judgment from other people, from family or friends or wives or girlfriends or brothers or sisters or husbands and boyfriends. I guarantee you, if you look inside yourself, get a piece of paper out and try the same thought experiments that we just did here on this video and really ask yourself the same points that I just did and answer yourself. Now, it's okay. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that. Some people might think the death penalty is horrible. Some people might think, wait a minute, there should be, borderless countries and we all should live as one global humanity. Okay, fine. I disagree with you. Defend your points. Write it down in the comment section. I'll talk back. I'll talk back to you. All right. So get in there. Write them down. Tell me what you think. Because now we're going to get to the creep of the week. Creep of the MF and week. Could be a person, place, or thing, or all three, or none of them. Okay. This is kind of a huge sort of mixed gumbo soup of creeps in 1 week. All right. I cannot stand opinions from uneducated people. I'm not saying you need to go to Harvard. All right. I don't care if you go to Harvard. I don't care what you're doing. That is your business. That is up to you. You can learn from a library as much as you can learn from a Princeton degree. PhD people do know a lot of specified information. I'm not saying you need to have this, but if you don't know what the F you're talking about, stay out of the conversation. Take your ego out the door and worry about it later, okay? Let the people who know what they're talking about, who studied, finish their statements. Maybe you can learn something from them. Listen. That's why God gave you 2 ears and 2 eyes to watch and listen, and only 1 mouth. You like that? Bringing it back to elementary school right there. That's like preschool kind of shit, right? Okay. The second creep of the week, kind of part of this creeper gumbo, is no historical knowledge. The ability to not even know where you are coming from as a culture, anthropologically speaking, where you're coming from as an identity. I don't really believe that race is an identity. It's certainly a visual image, right? Like your pigment of your skin changes your visual image. Where you come from and the customs of your family and culture certainly differentiate themselves from each other. But if you don't have any historical knowledge, like I'll give you an example. All right. I was having this little conversation with this African-American woman at a bar, probably one of the last times I was at a bar. All right. We were having a little conversation and she very willy-nilly just said, well, you white people are all the same because you're all slave owners. Now, she doesn't know anything about my history. She doesn't know that I'm half Italian, that my grandfather came over here. My great-grandfather came over here in 1899. I have his death certificate. Yes, I could trace that back. Okay, he's from Italy. He was a tailor. I can tell you right now, tailors did not own slaves. Most Italians did not own slaves. Maybe the Romans did, but that we're talking like 1,000 years ago. Take the Italians off the argument, okay? That side of my family did not own slaves. Did not own slaves. So already she's an idiot because she has no historical knowledge about my history. She's just doing total blanket statement based on looks. Okay. Not identity, on racial looks, which in turn is racist, by the way. Second part of my history was French, Quebecois, Native American. Okay. Now, were we a soldiering type? Yes. All right. Did probably my great-great-grandfather kill some Native Americans in Canada? Probably. Yeah. Maybe some of them My relatives got killed by Native Americans. Well, fine. That's okay. That happened in the past. A lot of warring tribes, a lot of warring people. This is just historical knowledge. This is what goes on. So, right there, I guess the worst thing you could say in the last 4 generations ago, on my mom's side of the family, that we were a soldiering class. Okay, so we were warriors. But guess what? A lot of those soldiers, okay, they came from nothing. Soldiering, it was one of the ways that poor people could actually make a living. So if you think about it, they weren't owning slaves either. So this lady who doesn't know anything is calling me a white slave owner. What the fuck? That's what I'm talking about, creep of the week. Okay, this makes no sense. Doesn't make any sense. Now, okay, maybe you could get some people on something that their families did generations and generations ago. Fine, but I mean, if you want to start opening that can of worms, everybody's bloodline comes from blood. In fact, you could even argue that the fact that you're sitting here right now alive means that someone in your past had to kill other people to be able to get you to get to where you are now. Your family line had to fight tooth and nail to get you to be alive today in this generation. Think about that. Think about that. Everyone who's alive on the planet right now had relatives that had to scrape by, murder, kill, soldier, slave, what have you, got ahead somehow. So if we want to start doing the blood on the hands thing, everybody's got blood on their hands. All right? Especially if you're a religious person like myself, trust me, we are all sinners. I also, just to throw this in here in the creep of the week portion, I do not like people who do not study politics. If you don't know what's going on and you're not well informed of what's happening, and trust me, if you only watch mainstream media, then you do not know what's going on whatsoever. Trust me, there's a whole world out there waiting for you to learn about in underground media and in books, and taking the time out of your day to study politics and figure out what's really going on. So when people start talking about politics and they're not political junkies like me, I have to hold my tongue. Otherwise, I'll punch him in the face. Just kidding. Like we talked about before. Don't go punching people in the face because they're idiots. All right. Life will do that just fine by itself. And finally, again, in the creep of the week, party liners. Okay. Parties and political parties change all the time. I mean, what a Republican meant 150 years ago is not what it means now. What a Democrat was 150 years ago is not what a Democrat is now. You got to think about it. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. He freed the slaves. All right. Now everybody thinks Republicans are Christian white nationalists trying to enslave everybody, make them go to church. How horrible. Terrible people. Democrats were the slave owners. Hello. Are we aware of this thing here? So if you're a party liner, that means you're admitting that nothing can ever change in history. And that's just absolute bullshit. It's bull crap. Bull crap. It's malarkey. As the old people would say. And that's the creep of the week. I want to say thank you to the 59 subscribers. If you have not subscribed already, please subscribe below. If you liked what you heard, if you did not like what you heard, thanks for hanging out. Either way, please hit the like button if you did. If you didn't, well, just comment below. Insult me. Take me to task. Tell me what's going on in your mind. Tell me what you agree with. Tell me what you don't. But now you guys know where I stand. So all my opinions come from very hard-earned and studied mental introspection. So I could figure out what it was I believed in. Because if you don't know what you believe, you'll believe in anything. And when you finally believe something, you can stand for something. Because when you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. Oh my God, the platitudes are going crazy. Thank you so much for watching today. This is Kill the Cat Radio, Sharp Teeth, episode 23. What do I believe? And now you know. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.